So good morning, Ms. Priya.
Good morning.
The issue is like why exclude the single woman or unmarried woman from the opting surrogacy. So as a lawyer dealing with such cases related to surrogacy and all, what are your insight on the issues of excluding women from opting surrogacy?
So see, as per the new Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021, single unmarried women are completely excluded from the purview of the Act, even though widows and divorcees within a certain age bracket can avail of surrogacy. So as a lawyer, in my opinion, there is no rationale for having such a distinction between women who have once been married, as in widows and divorcees who are now included, and women who have never been married. Because what we are doing is we are making marriage as the pedestal for child raising. Okay. So what the government is really trying to say is that a single woman is incapable of raising a child on her own. She's incapable of taking care of a child's needs, child's physical, emotional, and financial needs, and that's why she has been excluded completely from the purview of the Act, which in the modern day does not hold any good. We have seen several single women successfully raising children on their own, much better than a married couple can. So that, in my opinion, should not be the rationale for determining whether a woman is capable of raising a child on her own or not. So yes.
Further to that, as a limitation imposed by the amended SRA 2023 Clause 1D, impacted the ability of the intending mothers, or let's say a single woman, from having a child through a gestational surrogates using the donor female gametes. So what would that be like, or let's put it in that way, like in law perspective?
This is a recent amendment that has been brought about by the government. So I'll just tell you the history of this amendment, how it was actually brought about. So you know that there is a PIL pending in the Supreme Court, which has challenged several provisions of the Surrogacy Regulation Act and the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act. In that PIL, we had filed an IA for clarification as to whether a surrogate mother has to be genetically related to the intending couple. So in response to that IA is an interim application in the main petition, the government filed a response stating that a surrogate mother need not be genetically related as per the definition of Section 21ZG of the Surrogacy Act. But at the same time, the child born out of surrogacy has to be related to both the intending parents. So it is more a matter of interpretation, and it was brought within a period of 2 months from the date of IA, which is in a most hasty manner. So what has happened is, like, years of research and years of parliamentary committee debates have been put on a hold, and now the government and the expert committee of the National Board of Surrogacy has come up with an amendment completely barring single women from using donor eggs and even married couples from using donor eggs for surrogacy, which does not make any sense because as per the Act, the whole Act is meant to benefit married couples. So as per the new amendment, even married couples are ousted from using donor eggs for surrogacy, when the whole purpose of surrogacy is to help infertile, childless married couple to have a child of their own or to start a family. So this particular notification is completely irrational. It is devoid of any determining principles, and I think it should go. It should go.
Should go. Thank you so much. So I even had a question based on the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Act. So do you believe that this Assisted Productive Technology, or we call it like in short ART, Regulation Act and Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021, which is a previous one, adequately protect the rights and interests of the individual seeking surrogacy, like specifically the single and unmarried women?
See, the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act and the Surrogacy Regulation Act, they have to go hand in hand, because ultimately surrogacy is also a form of assisted reproduction. So the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act takes care of the scientific and medical aspects of assisted reproduction, while the Surrogacy Regulation Act takes care of the ethical and moral aspects of assisted reproduction, especially surrogacy, which involves a third woman. So as per the Assisted Reproductive Technologies Act, a single woman can avail of ART services, as in she can go for IVF. But when the same single woman wants to avail of surrogacy, she is ousted under the Surrogacy Regulation Act. So what is the rationale for determination is that when a single woman is bearing a child in her own womb, she will be more biologically connected, emotionally bonded with the child, and vis-a-vis surrogacy, which I think is based more on the personal belief systems of a few members of the national board or the expert members, rather than any legal or legal reasoning as such. Because if we go by that logic, then even adoptions would have the same rationale, because the woman is not giving birth to an adoptive child. But that does not in any way determine the bond between a child and a mother. So that bond goes way beyond blood relation. So now in the 21st century, we cannot come up with such regressive arguments that if a woman is not bearing a child in a womb, she will not have the same amount of emotional connection with the child. So yes, I don't think ousting single women and unmarried women from surrogacy is based on any sound legal determining principles.
So can you explain the legal rationale behind the Delhi High Court questions as per to the case studies that we mentioned regarding the discrimination faced by a single woman in accessing the surrogacy?
Yeah, the surrogacy, the Delhi High Court has presently issued notice in a petition which challenges the ban on single women from going for surrogacy. So I don't think the government has filed a response in that, but the government has filed a detailed response in the Supreme Court PIL that is pending, where they have given this rationale that the same that I just discussed, that since in an IVF, a woman is bearing a child in her womb, so they are allowing IVF for a single woman, but they are not allowing surrogacy because it is not the woman bearing the child, it is a third person bearing a child for her. So in that way, they have made bearing of a child the sole determining principle rather than the physical, emotional, and financial capability of a woman to raise a child, which is absolutely illogical.
So if I refer this to like surrogacy, it's not only it's happening in India, it's across the globe.
Surrogacy is
Indian
allowed
globe.
in several countries like the US, UK. UK does allow compensated surrogacy. US allows commercial surrogacy. Then there are countries like Georgia and Ukraine. All these countries allow surrogacy, and surrogacy for single women is allowed in the US and the UK. So India also, till until very recently, till the act came into force, did allow single women to go for surrogacy. There have been several examples of that. Several celebrities that we know of who are single mothers and have been successfully raising their children through surrogacy. But suddenly, the government has come up with the concept of a traditional family. And as per them, only a traditional family and only a traditional married couple within a certain age bracket is capable of raising a child born through surrogacy. So that is absolutely illogical. It doesn't hold any good, especially today when the concept of family as such has evolved. There are several forms of family and they have all been excluded. So as of today, live-in couples cannot go for surrogacy. Same-sex couples cannot go for surrogacy. Secondary infertility is not taken into account. That is, if you already have a child, you cannot have a second child through surrogacy. So all these exclusions in the act are without any legal backing, in my opinion. Yeah, and that is the bone of contention of a PIL also. We have challenged all these exclusions also, apart from the exclusion of single women.
So, based on your legal standpoint, what are some of the potential consequences of maintaining the current exclusion of the single women and unmarried women in relating to the laws and regulations in India? And how does this like improve, or how does this like address the concerns of single women and unmarried women to promote equality, if as being part of the citizen of this country?
So we are completely excluding single working women based on the premise that probably single working women will not be able to devote the same amount of time that a married woman would be, which in today's time is absolutely illogical. I don't think, because even married couples, the woman is going out and working, and there is no guarantee that a mother who forms a part of a family is more capable of taking care of a surrogate child than a single mother. Also, if a woman is that desperate to become a single mother, it shows that she really wants a child. She really wants a child for herself, and she will put in everything that she has to raise the child, to take care of the child, because it is not an easy decision for a single woman to become a single mother. So we should take that into consideration, and the government should, instead of making childbearing and womb bearing as the premise, take into consideration the emotional, physical, and financial capability of a woman to raise a child, as they do in cases of adoption. So while a single woman can adopt in India, she cannot go for surrogacy. So what is the rationale behind that? What is the rationale? Why are we just making surrogacy a taboo and not see it as an advancement in medical science, which, India is one of the leading countries when it comes to assisted reproduction. So let us use it to our advantage, and especially now that infertility has been classified as a disease. 1 out of every 6 in the world, as per the WHO statistics, is facing infertility. So now is the time that these assisted reproductive technologies should come to the benefit of several such childless people, whether it be single women or married couples. That is the whole purpose of the regulation. It should be enabling in nature rather than being overly restrictive.
So what are your concerns as a legal professional or the activist of surrogacy regarding the legality of the amendment, the current bill, and its potential implications for others, especially unmarried and single women seeking for surrogacy, like as in Indian perspective?
See, as far as the amendment is concerned, a rule cannot go beyond the act. So while the Surrogacy Regulation Act never envisaged the exclusion of donor eggs for surrogacy, this new rule has suddenly come in and by way of an amendment excluded the use of donor eggs for surrogacy. So if we go through the entire scheme of the act, the use of donor eggs is very much envisaged throughout the scheme of the Surrogacy Regulation Act. Firstly, the upper age of a woman who can avail of surrogacy is 50 years. So at the age of 50, we cannot expect a woman to have healthy self eggs to go for surrogacy. The only resort that she'll have is to use donor eggs. Again, there is Rule 14 under the surrogacy regulation rules, which provide for the medical indication necessitating surrogacy. So now under the Act, only married couples with a certain medical indication like absence of uterus, some congenital disease, recurrent failed IVFs can go for surrogacy. Surrogacy can be availed of only when there is a medical necessity and not otherwise. So when the Act itself has made it so strict and it has clearly determined as to who all can avail of surrogacy, there was no need of this additional amendment banning the use of donor eggs. And especially when it is devoid of any legal backing, there is no legality to it. What is the basis of bringing in the amendment? As per the government affidavit, it says that if a woman does not use her own egg, she will not have a strong emotional bond with the child. If we are using these kind of preconceived notions to determine the lives of millions of childless couples in India, I think this act is bound to fail. It is completely unworkable, because as of now, about 70 to 80% of women who are qualified under the Surrogacy Act would require donor eggs. So this act will fail if donor eggs are not allowed to be used.
What would be the impacts as in terms of legal? Would you elaborate further on that? The effects and how could it change the whole landscape of the surrogacy in India? Like especially this applies applicable to married and unmarried and single women.
See, we are very hopeful. The court is also understanding that the complete exclusion of single unmarried women is without any legal backing. They are very much understanding. Now it's a matter of time. So, as I said, that a single woman is eligible under the ART Act to go for IVF treatment. A single woman can adopt. So, completely ousting her from surrogacy, it does not make any sense. And why should the marital status in itself determine the capability of a woman to raise a child, is the question here. And we are hopeful of getting a positive outcome in this regard. So this is a very new act, so it's taking time for everyone to understand the implications of it. That is why I think the judges are also being very careful in passing orders, because they want to understand, because it is not just a medical aspect, it is also a social aspect. Surrogacy, unfortunately, infertility and surrogacy till date are taboos in India. So most of these women who avail of surrogacy would not even tell their own families that they are bearing a child through surrogacy. So that is the situation, unfortunately, till today. So there is a lot of social stigma involved. There is a lot of acceptance issues involved. So the court has to take all that into consideration, because we are living in India, and obviously we have to take the Indian mindset into consideration before passing any laws as such. But as far as single women are concerned, we are hopeful of a positive outcome, and it is their legal right to had to assist to reproduce, and surrogacy is just one of the means for assisted reproduction. So in that case, I think we'll get a positive outcome.
It's really a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you once again, and you have a pleasant day.
You too. Thank you so much.